Go to any video about Dr. Umar Johnson right now. Anyone. Does not matter if it dropped today or 3 years ago. Scroll to the comments and find me the person who says haters gon' hate, or our own people need to stop blocking his blessings.
Huh? What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Or you are doing the system's work for them. I will wait. You found them in 30 seconds because they are always there on every video, every comment section, every platform. Same language, different accounts, same exact
bullshit.
Now ask yourself something. Who taught them to say that? Because Umar did not have to show up in those comment sections himself. He did not need lawyers. He did not need threats. He did not need to silence a single critic personally. The community did it for him, for free, for 13 years. And today I am going to show you exactly how he built a pitch that made that possible. A pitch so specifically engineered that questioning it did not feel like accountability. It felt like racial betrayal. $700,000 confirmed on camera in 2017. Donations continued. A sheriff sale in 2025. Donations continued. Documented receipts. And right now, today, someone is in a comment section calling a critic a hater.
You're so dumb. You are really dumb. For real.
That is not community. That is a mechanism. And once you see how it was built, you will never unsee it. 2017, Roland Martin sits across from Dr. Umar Johnson and asked him one question directly. How much money has been raised and what is the status of the project? His exact answer? $700,000.
You talked about taking over the buildings or the land of a black school that was shut down.
Yes, sir. St. Paul's College.
And you were raising money for it. First of all, how much money has been raised and what's the status of that project?
Well, St. Paul's has been sold. Approximately 3 to 5 months ago, I was told by the auction company in charge of the sale that it was been sold to a developer.
So how much money was raised? What the people gave? All kinds of people gave. How much was raised, and what's the status of that?
$700,000, and the status is we're still looking for a school, and the status is my start date for FDMG will be 8/21/18, or if at all, it may be delayed to 8/21/19.
2,000 years later.
None of it's true. None of it's true. None of it's true. It's BS. They made it up. They lie.
$700,000. And the status is we are still looking for a school. $700,000 confirmed. And then the donations continued. For how long? 8 more years. The building almost went to auction in August 2025 over an unpaid utility bill. He ran an emergency PayPal drive the same week. People gave again. Right now, today, someone is in a comment section on a video about Umar calling a critic a hater. The mechanism is still running. So the question this video exists to answer is not whether the receipts were public. They were. Roland Martin put $700,000 on camera in 2017 and nobody blinked. The question is why public receipts never stopped a single donation cycle across 13 years.
Why?
Shit, I don't even know. Like, I can't even tell you that. Like,
and the answer has nothing to do with the school. It has nothing to do with the money. It has everything to do with the pitch he built around both of those things. A pitch so specifically engineered that asking where the money went did not feel like accountability. It felt like betraying black children. That is what we are getting into today. Stay with me. The first load-bearing word in the pitch was not FDMG. It was not Frederick Douglass. It was not even school. It was chosen ones. That is what he called the boys who would attend, not students, applicants, or kids who passed an entrance exam or met an academic standard. Chosen ones, selected by him. Dr.
Umar Ifatunde Oguntade in the International Movement for the Independence and Protection of African People.
What is he doing? He's beginning to believe.
The prince of pan-scamism himself. Now think about what that word does to a parent. Your son is not enrolling in a school. He is being chosen for the revolution. His seat at FDMG is not a tuition payment. It is a destiny. And the moment you attach a child's future to divine selection, asking for a financial receipt does not feel like due diligence. It feels like doubting whether your son deserves to be chosen. That is not an accident. That word was load-bearing. It was doing structural work inside the pitch every single time he used it. On the Breakfast Club, on live streams, in front of crowds of parents who had already given and needed a reason to keep giving. And here is the part that makes it architectural rather than just manipulative. Once the community adopted it, once parents started calling their sons chosen ones in their own conversations, the word stopped belonging to the pitch and started belonging to the identity. You cannot audit an identity. You cannot demand receipts from a destiny. Chosen ones. 2 words. 13 years of BS. The second load-bearing word was civilization, and this one did something chosen ones could not do alone. It made the scope impossible to audit. Think about the difference between a school and a civilization. A school has classrooms. You can count them. A school has teachers. You can ask for their names. A school has students. You can ask where they are. Every part of a school is verifiable. Every part of a school can be receipted. A civilization cannot be fully pictured, and anything that cannot be fully pictured cannot be fully questioned. And when someone questions the blueprint for a civilization, they are not asking about classrooms. They are asking you to think small. They are asking you to accept that the system cannot be beaten. They are asking you to abandon the vision before it has a chance to breathe. The independent black institution frame ran the same operation from a different angle. Outside accountability was not curiosity. It was the system doing its work through people who thought they were asking legitimate questions. Every journalist who asked where the money went was a threat to black independence. Every receipts video was propaganda. Every concerned donor was a coon or a struggle streamer who did not understand the mission. He did not have to say any of that directly. The framing and the stand said it for him. The scope was the shield. The independence was the armor. And together they made the civilization impossible to question without feeling like you were the problem. The architecture had one vulnerability. Words only work if the community enforces them. And for a community to enforce language it has never been explicitly taught, the cost of breaking it has to be social, immediate, and severe. So he attached a price tag to criticism, not a legal one or a financial one, a social one. Struggle streamer. That is what you were if you asked where the money went on a YouTube video. YouTubian. That is what you were if you made a receipts video. Coon. That is what you were if you questioned the mission publicly. Not a concerned donor or someone doing due diligence. A race traitor. Someone actively working against black children. Think about what that price tag does inside a community that is already hyper-vigilant about being perceived as disloyal. You are not just questioning a fundraising operation. You are risking your standing, your relationships, your identity as someone who is genuinely down for the people. But fortunately, there's still a few of us that
we do not care.
We don't care. Let me tell you we don't care.
And here's the part that makes it architectural. He did not need to be in every conversation where that price tag was collected. Once the labels existed, once the community knew the cost of asking questions, people started collecting the price on his behalf without being asked, without being paid, without knowing they were doing it. Every person who called a critic a struggle streamer was protecting a PayPal link without knowing it. The community became the enforcement arm, and it cost him nothing. This is not theoretical. Pull up any video about Dr. Umar Johnson posted in the last 2 weeks. Just from the last 2 weeks. Someone said if our own people stop hating, it will prosper. 22 likes, posted 9 days ago. Another person said, haters gonna hate, but forward motion we about. 64 likes, posted 11 days ago. Then another one. Dr. Umar is the epitome of perseverance in the face of adverse media propaganda. I applaud his discipline.
How, Sway? You ain't got the answers, man. You ain't got the answers.
Are you stupid or something?
154 likes, posted 10 days ago. Bruh. These comments did not appear on a video from 2016 before the receipts were public. They appeared after the Roland Martin interview was on YouTube, after the sheriff's cell notice was posted on the building, after all the documented receipt videos we dropped. I'm talking about myself, Poetic Flacco, Seti Nash, Lennon Honor, just to name a few. Yet the mechanism did not slow down when the evidence arrived. It absorbed the evidence and kept running. Every receipts video became propaganda. Every documented failure became persecution. Every question became hate.
Hey, bro, come on now, dog. Come on, man.
Not because he told them to say that, because the architecture he built in 2013 was still standing in 2026, and the community was still staffing it for free. That is what You Were the Shield means. You were given a language system specifically designed to make your protection feel like loyalty. My question is, does any of this require Dr. Umar Johnson to be consciously running it? Because that is the move. That is always the move. When the receipts land, when the architecture becomes visible, when the enforcement arm gets named, the response is always the same. Maybe he really believes in the school. Maybe he genuinely thinks the mission is real. Maybe he is not running a deliberate operation. He is just a man who got in over his head and kept going.
Do you see me laughing, my nigga?
And here's the answer. It does not matter at this point. The pitch does not require him to be dishonest to function. It only requires the language to be in place.
Negro pen. Somebody snatch that Negro pen's melanin for me. Somebody please snatch that Negro pen's melanin.
If anybody deserve a Coon Award, it's your ass. If anybody deserves a Coon Award, it is your ass, boy.
I'm sorry, brother, but you are in the book of Negroes.
Wanted to speak to me, so you come and address me. And I don't know what you're speaking to me for anyway, because I don't fuck with you. You's a hater. I don't know what it is with you little midgets. I'm telling you.
He been raising money for 15 years. Y'all didn't even know me 15 years. Talking about the YouTubian struggle streaming. Exactly. These Negroes will desecrate your reputation, your image, your character for 100 views.
Dear Coon, on behalf of Dr. Umar Ifatunde Oguntade and the International Movement for the Independence and Protection of African People, you have hereby been excommunicated from the African race, and we have rebirthed you into the European power.
Chosen ones, civilization, independent black institution, struggle streamer. Those words do their work whether he believes them or not. The enforcement arm runs whether he activates it or not. The donations continue whether he intends them to or not. A trap does not need to know it is a trap to catch people. The architecture is what matters. The intent is irrelevant to the outcome, which means the question of whether he believes his own pitch is actually the least interesting question in this entire story. The most interesting question is why the architecture kept working after the evidence was public. And we just answered that. The pitch was immune to evidence because the evidence was pre-framed as the enemy. That is not a flaw in the system. That is the system working exactly as designed. How can someone comment, Dr. Umar is the epitome of perseverance in the face of adverse media propaganda, and get 154 likes? How, Sway? That is not stubbornness. That is not blind faith. That is an architecture that was specifically built to absorb proof.
I mean, it's all right. Like, overrated as in my opinion. I mean, and you know what though? That's typically how the bullshit goes. You feel me?
The Roland Martin interview was propaganda. The sheriff's cell was government persecution. The receipt videos were struggle streamers doing the system's work. The white man is after him. Every piece of evidence that arrived got reframed before it could land. This was never just about FDMG, the chosen one's language, the civilization frame, the independent institution armor, the community enforcement arm, the labels that made criticism cost more than silence. None of that is unique to Dr. Umar Johnson. Every single piece of it is a template, and every single piece of it can be picked up by the next person who understands that a community protecting something it loves is a community that can be turned into a shield. The question the Roland Martin interview should have ended in 2017 is still open in 2026 because the pitch was built to make the question feel like the problem. So what does the next one look like? Same language, different name. Chosen ones becomes a new phrase. Civilization becomes a new vision. Independent black institution becomes a new frame. The PayPal link is different. The building is in a different city, but the architecture is identical. And if the community does not decide what it requires before the first dollar moves, the mechanism does not need Umar Johnson to keep running. It just needs the next person who knows how to use the words. So let me ask you this. If the next pitch shows up tomorrow using the same language, the same frame, the same labels for anyone who asks questions, what does the community require before the first dollar moves? Drop your answer in the comments. I want to know where you stand. If you want to see how this pattern plays out beyond Umar, that video is right here. Click now, and I'll see you on the next one. Panda out.